Hey guys, look at my girlfriend.
I'm your cousin.
Just go.
What the fuck?
Have you ever wondered what would happen if your family tree was a straight line with no branches? Well, wonder no more, because you're going to be introduced to the product of such an experiment, Charles II of Spain. First, some background information. The House of Habsburg was a noble family from Austria, that basically married into the noble families of every European monarchy, and married into so many different families that they started marrying each other. This family was essentially Appalachian levels of inbred. Charles was the end product of all this strategic inbreeding, being the son of Philip IV of Spain and his niece, Mariana of Austria. Due to his family being more mixed than the critical reception for Marvel's Iron Fist, Charles suffered from ill health and birth defects all his life. He was described as being short, lame, epileptic, senile, and completely bald before 35, always on the verge of death, but repeatedly baffling Christendom by continuing to live. But live he did. With Philip IV's death in 1665, Charles became the King of Spain at the age of 3. Now, most 3-year-olds can't run a game of Europa Universalis, much less the real-world version of that, and so Charles' mother was made the regent until her death in 1696. Charles' mother and his illegitimate half-brother, John of Austria, constantly vied for control over the throne, slowly crippling the entire country in the process. During his brief reign, Charles also presided over the largest public execution of heretics that happened during the Spanish Inquisition.
Well, I didn't expect a kind of Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Now, if you single guys really want to feel bad about yourself, listen to this. Charles had not only one, but 2 wives over the course of his entire life. Charles was sterile due to all his genetic problems, which was really just God's way of telling the Habsburgs to stop inbreeding. An astrologer, the only real scientist, told Mariana that Charles was sterile because he never said goodbye to his dead father, and so they had Philip IV's body dug up so that Charles could say his last goodbyes. Shockingly, this did not cure Charles' sterility problems, and soon after, his first wife died. Charles remarried but was unable to produce an heir, and his lack of a successor would kick off the War of Spanish Succession upon his death. Somehow, Charles' health deteriorated even further, and he died 5 days before his 39th birthday, on November 1st, 1700. The doctor who did his autopsy said that Charles' body did not contain a single drop of blood, his heart was the size of a peppercorn, his lungs corroded, his intestines rotten and gangrenous, he had a single testicle, black as coal, and his head was full of water. Historian John Langdon Davies described Charles as follows. We are dealing with a man who died of poison 200 years before he was born. If birth is a beginning, of no man was it more true to say that in his beginning was his end. From the day of his birth they were waiting for his death. Truly one of the most cursed men ever to live. So kids, the real lesson here is that despite what your southern upbringing or Chinese cartoons tell you, the only things that should be inbred are flour and yeast, not your family.